it turned my budget in, all I did is, I don't know, a couple $100 increase is all, but that's built in there for a little inflation. But basically, it'll be the same half-time FTE. We're gonna get a federal, we hopefully, we applied for a EMPG, Emergency Performance Management Grant. We have not heard on that yet. We sent all that stuff in, all they wanted was the budget page. We have not sent the narrative in yet. It's gonna be a new narrative, and they haven't got that prepared for us yet. But the state has made a request to FEMA for the total dollar amount, and Broadwater County's in there for about 25,000, just like last year, same amount. I bumped it up a little bit, try to cover for if we get a pay raise. And, which I didn't get to participate in. What was our last pay raise, 56 cents or something?
Oh,
I didn't get that.
why?
Well, I asked Debbie about it, she said, well, because you weren't an employee. I said, well, I was on I was on July 1st. And I said, but I visited with the commissioner. I assumed I was gonna get it. And I sent her a little email, I never did hear back from it. But I'm not a complainer or a whiner. I don't know, it's been you'll have to talk to her, I don't know, I don't do the payroll.
Were you a permanent employee as of July 1?
No, I was in July.
Oh, okay, that's why.
You see, and then my appointment ended on August 18th, and I wasn't appointed until the 2nd of October.
Okay.
But
Here's the
then,
reason.
Yeah.
in my deal, it said come back in 6 months and you would consider
Hmm.
something. But anyway,
We never had that discussion at the
no,
6 months,
we
did we?
didn't. But that's all right, it's no big deal, I'm not a
Well,
whiner.
no, we need to do with that, because, you know, when we miss somebody,
Mhm.
sorry, we set a precedent.
Oh, okay.
And that's something, you know, everybody needs to be treated the same.
Yeah, it would have been in March sometime. wouldn't it?
Your 6 months?
Third March, yeah. Well, if I came in October, that'd be March,
Yeah,
April.
so we need to,
October, November, December, January, February, March. So it'd be March 3rd.
yeah, we need to put that
And
on the
I
agenda.
like to look at that, review that job description even.
Okay,
Some of the things in that job description came from Mako, don't pertain to my job.
you're the expert on what your job is, so what I would
Well, a lot of it
suggest
had in
is
there with
cross those
safety and
things
stuff,
off.
yeah.
Add what you do that might not be included.
And I visited, you know, with, last Thursday, we had a meeting in Fairmont where public health, emergency preparedness, and also DES people from their region came. We talked about that job description. And they told me to go back to my commissioners, just to negotiate it between me and the commissioners. I asked for the DES to send me a template, rather than Mako, because DES understands a little bit more, better than our. Well, they didn't have one. They said you just have to ask the different county to send you something. And I thought, well, gee, everybody's doing budgets, I haven't got time for that. We'll do it later. It's not that big a deal. You know, I work good with the commission, try to work really good with the commissioners, and keep you informed. And
And you succeed.
keep my nose
It's
clean,
a good job.
as they say, try to keep out of trouble.
Yeah, your nose looks good.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just wanted to come in, I knew you had work sessions, you wanted to talk, different agencies come in and visit about budgets, and I wanted to prep you. You can kind of look at that, and I'll bring those 3 packages in and we'll open them. And I have a lot to learn on this.
Well, I try a lot, Brendan, on the figure.
I will.
The radio stay in there and stuff.
I will. You know, they might still own, I don't know, we'll work something out, we're just talking. And I just wanted the commissioners to be on the ground floor during the discussions, to understand where I'm coming from, as well as she's coming from. I don't know, I asked, what do you do with your old vehicle? Well, sometimes we trade them in, sometimes we give them to search and rescue, and if we got surplus, sometimes we just sell them. I said, well, any chance I could get one of your used vehicles? I'd like to have a Durango rather than a squad car or a pickup truck. You know, a sedan, I guess, instead of squad. But anyway.
Well, you need 4-wheel drive.
4-wheel drive would be nice, and then like we're going, you know, even 4 passengers would be good, like when we went up, you and I went up. Several times we put that little Ford in 4-wheel drive.
Yeah,
And we backed
several
out.
times.
We backed out a couple times, got a little deep for us. The water. But anyway, just food for thought.
Hey, one other food for thought.
Yes.
In, procurement. by accident, I talked to another commissioner and they just had a county procurement policy put together.
Oh, great.
They used their county engineer and a CDBG grant. So that might be something to look at with Sean, or just the CDBG grant, depending on what you're interested in. But,
Okay.
they would kind of walk us, the county through that. You know, you were talking about how detailed and convoluted it can be.
It
Maybe we
is.
let somebody else who
Yeah,
has
bring Corey
experience do
on
that.
the discussion. It
Yeah.
would be great. He's
Yeah.
the one that's been doing some of the research for me
Oh, okay.
and helped me on some of it, but he gets so busy, he got so much.
Well, and that's why I
We just
kinda
need a
said-
local policy.
Right, and a CDBG would pay
What's that
75.
stand for?
Community Development Block Grant.
Oh, that's a grant to study that or to do that?
Exactly, that's what we do, growth policies,
Oh, okay.
employment policies,
Well, have other counties
Procurement.
got local policies? What do the other
Mhm.
counties, a lot of them do?
yeah.
Couldn't we just cut and paste?
Honestly, we
Yeah.
could, unless there's a requirement that there be so many meetings, which would probably be in the document too. I'll talk to that commissioner and just see if they'll just send you a copy, or let you
Yeah,
know
that
who they
would
are.
be great.
I just
No,
have
I
them off my
asked
head.
Lewis and Clark County, they have their own, but then again, I sent it to Corey, and he said, well, gee, this thing's about 13 pages. He said, I haven't got time to study it.
Yeah.
So we cut and paste, we asked for a Word document, we cut and paste some stuff. But he says, can we simplify this? And I said, well, I'd sure like to, but that's up to the commission. I think we need one that covers small stuff, and then building construction is different than bridges and stuff.
Mhm.
But for small stuff, say from 5,000 up to, well, some of this isn't building, some of this is just consulting services
Yeah.
and things like that, or small purchases like radios and stuff. And like on the radio deal, we had to buy Motorola, because it's proprietary, the trunking system is Motorola. And I asked, up to Gary Schmidt at Capital Communications, if, should we send out RFPs? Well, no, he said, you don't send them out, you send it directly to Motorola Solutions through him, but it can be through any, it doesn't make any difference. It's the same price. You're not gonna, it's not a bidding process, he says, it's just, they all have their own radios for the trunking system. You either buy their products or don't go trunking. I mean, it was a funny deal, but,
Yeah,
and I tried to talk to the state a little bit about it. And those people that work in Department Administration and that Bureau, Public Safety Radio Bureau, said, well, you gotta buy from Motorola Solutions, it's just the way it is. If you wanna be on our trunking system. Trunking is all that equipment's all Motorola proprietary, there's no competition. So anyway, I'll get out of here, thanks for your time, Commissioners, and I'll visit with Brenna and try to get her to, if she wants too much money, I can't afford it. I'm just a part-time little guy. There's some big agencies, and even our county has some big budgets, I don't know.
Yeah.
About 48,000. Thank you, Commissioners, for your time.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mike.
See you next Monday,
sounds good.
2:00, thanks.
I must have misplaced my budget stuff. I
Oh.
left it in the car.
We can share.
Okay, which one is?
Anyone, I'm fine starting anywhere.
I don't know if I got-
What did we put into personal service, professional services, refresh my memory? What was it for, attorneys?
Probably. I don't remember off the top of my head. I was just trying to think what we might have this year, but it's just so hard to guess.
HR.
Oh, no, Shell has her
Is that a
own
different
budget
one? Okay.
for that. sheets. That probably last year would have been A to Z for their, assistance on the reserve deputy issue.
But it's good to have something there just in case.
I agree. And if we don't use it, then we save it for the next year.
It looks like we need to take travel up just a hair.
And I'd like to talk about that, with, Franklin specifically as the user of that
What's that?
one. Travel, when we get to the budget.
I'm not.
Michelle's budget, I think I put away.
Hmm?
Michelle's budget, I think I put it away.
Are most of the budgets in now?
I think so. Debbie was inputting as she got them one by one. She's gonna try and get the budget approved, very quickly, which I think would be really exciting. What's that?
Do you need,
Oh, I don't think so. You might ask the chairman.
What's that?
do you need me here any longer?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so.
She's supposed to be on vacation, we better let her go.
Oh, go take vacation.
Just let me know when,
Thanks.
what time you.
Okay,
Look at the garden meeting. Yeah, no, I know what, I'll do that.
oh, nice.
I'll do something else. Have a good one.
Thanks, Ann.
I'm like you, Elaine, I don't know where mine's at either. I don't think, 'cause you got one more.
Debbie's gone today.
Yeah.
No, I don't have it with me.
I can share more about that. Outside of the. We had one here for Michelle.
Refresh my memory, what do we pay Michelle?
I don't remember.
Hmm?
I don't remember. I was hoping that I could find it here. Just saw it, but I must have put it somewhere. So here. Oh, it's on the back side. Knew I had it. So there's Michelle's. So we have TV district to do, Michelle's, commissioners. Franklin has the Three Forks mosquito budget. And that's it at this point.
I think we need to take Michelle up.
Where's she at? 14 actuals. Salaries and wages would be contract, so that's 0. Now this is her current. Yeah, what do you think?
What is it now?
Office supplies, 210 to
Michelle's
200.
budget.
Yeah, okay.
Postage, box rent, 311 is 150. Printing and duplication, number 320 is 100. 55 was spent last year. Repair and maintenance services, 222 was spent last year. Not sure why that would be. Travel, 0 was spent. Training services, $80. zero was spent. Contract services. It looks like, current budget was 7530. Current spent was 3779. So the total budget for Michelle, actual spent was $4,056. So would we be wise to take the same number as last year and just slide it over 7,500 for the contract services?
Yeah, probably.
We'll start there. One thing, do we need office supplies, postage, printing for her as she's contract? Wouldn't she
I
cover
wouldn't think so.
all those? The printing of the PowerPoints, the department heads all did for themselves. Postage, I can't imagine why we'd be sending out letters regarding HR issues. And office supplies, she's contract, she doesn't have an office here. So what I would suggest is maybe,
Combine those in.
yeah, and I would even suggest maybe we just take it to 7,500 since less than 5,000 was spent. Last year, now granted, we're still a month out. But maybe doing 75 even, taking these all to zero, sending that back into the general fund. And if we need to, into the latter part of the year, depending on what happens, we increase that amount as needed. What do you think?
Well, what's the 16?
That's salaries, when we had somebody in-house in fiscal years 13
All
and
right.
14, that was their salary. I'm gonna run to the restroom and let you guys mull that over.
Where the hell my stuff is? I can leave
Same
yours
with my
there.
stuff. Or I think mine's in the car, to be honest.
You know, the contract services. She
Yeah,
had,
it's 7,500, but we've only spent 3,700.
I guess it just depends, that would come when she has special trainings and stuff then? She'd contract, or be the same as when she gets somebody for, so I don't know, if that's all she spent, but I wouldn't wanna cut her too low. Or was the thought to leave it at that price?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, that'd be fine with me. She's box, right, 'cause, yeah.
We don't need that.
Right, cause if there's anything, it comes to here, as far as box, everything there.
And same like printing
Duplication, well, that's true too, if she's contracted, that's figured in
and,
repair and maintenance service. That'd be the same thing, wouldn't it?
I don't know what you'd be repairing and maintaining though.
Right, I mean, any of her equipment,
Yes,
she's
hers.
contracted, so, yeah, so I don't think that'd have to. So they're taking those two things off there, it'd be pretty much the same, would you think?
Mhm.
The rest of it real quick, too.
I wish.
I'm anxious for Allison, I think she'll do a good job.
I think she'll do a fabulous job, yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Personality-wise, I'm not so sure she isn't a better fit than Virginia in some ways.
Yeah, probably shouldn't say too much with the camera. Just trying to figure out a way to say that a little bit more nonchalantly. Okay, counter proposal or accept the proposal?
I'd accept.
Okay. All right, that one's done. How about the next easy one, the TV district? We really haven't spent anything. Oh, excuse me, yes, we have. We just didn't budget. We
You
missed
change
this one
that,
last year.
that one unit there, probably 6,000 or something.
So prices have come down from previous years. This one's a little bit higher, the rent. Machinery and equipment, should put a little bit more there just in case. What we did is bills came in, we just paid them. So we really should have more of a budget put together. See what we had for last year. What is the fund? 7260. I know that I have TV in here. So for operating supplies, we didn't spend anything last year. The year before it was 219. Repair and maintenance, maybe we should keep that at about 500, just in
Mhm.
case.
You never know what you're gonna need.
Right. Postage and box rent, I would say 0. We spent 12 last year.
Zero's fine by me.
Yeah.
Publicity and subscriptions, nothing
0.
last year. Utility, what do you say we do an even 1,000? Propane's going down, electric's going up. We spent 800 last year.
Let's go 1,000.
Okay. Hi Ann, how
Hello.
was your vacation?
Oh, it was wonderful.
Oh, I'm glad. Professional services and contract services, the money's in contracted services, not professional, so I suggest we stay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Repair and maintenance services, we didn't have anything last year, that was covered under machine and equipment. What do you say we put a little bit in there, just so we can have something there if it's needed?
Just a cushion.
Yeah. How about 100?
Yes, we replaced that air conditioner unit last year, that had to been 400 or 500.
Well, in your bid budget, of course, it shows machinery and equipment of 11,020. So that would probably take in.
Maybe
that.
come underneath that, 'cause that one, I don't know what they call that unit, I think it was about 6,000.
Okay, so for repair and maintenance services, do we wanna do that 100 or a little bit more? What do you guys think?
Let's go 150.
Yeah, so I'd say 150 or 2, yeah.
Travel, Charlie's contract, so that would be under contracted services, I suggest 0. I don't think the
Mhm.
three of us are gonna travel for the TV district. Contracted services, 0 was spent last year. I would bet that was also encompassed under machinery and equipment. I would suggest that we put something in there to pay in case Charlie needs to do FCC licenses or,
You want
fix something.
2,500 in there?
Let's go with 1,000.
Okay.
Because we just haven't had any issues. It is a standalone budget because it has its own mills, so it really, these will be, you know, fenced in. Rent was 1688 last year. Should we increase that to maybe 800, 18?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Not knowing what that'll be. And then machinery and equipment, how about 10 even, just in case. General fund, grand total. All right, operating supplies, we spent nothing last year, the year before we spent 219. You want 100 in there or 0?
No more than 100.
Okay. And these two are zeros. All right, that one's done. Give that to Debbie. This will be determined by taxes. And this is commissioners. Franklin, if you could, you can look at this if you want. When we're done, and then tell us what you want for Three Forks Mosquito. So for commissioners, salaries is done by Debbie. Contingency fund, we have a $50,000 loan to the citizens for the Deep Creek project. That will be paid back. I don't know when they're gonna use it. I don't know how much they've used at this point. But, do we want any extra in the contingency? We can increase that if we want. That would be for incidentals, unforeseens. I personally think that next year, it would be far wiser for us to have a separate fund, maybe under contingency, that has how much we're going to pay for the utilities for extension, because I think they're gonna be over there for at least half the year, and that remains our responsibility. So how much are we gonna pay for that? If we have any more with Black Mountain or DIS, how much do we want for that? And it should just come out of that fund, no more from PILT. That's my suggestion.
That makes sense.
Okay, I'll explain that to Debbie then. So, should we increase contingency or leave it at 50?
I'd say we should raise it up some.
I'd say 55.
55? Higher, Franklin, or 55? Franklin,
I'd say maybe another 5.
60?
Yeah.
60?
Is that okay, Elaine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Office supplies and materials. 482 was spent in 14, I think that was for, probably for our computers, although that's quite low. I don't know what that was for. 57 was spent last year, 100 was budgeted,
100 is fine.
okay. Operating supplies. We didn't spend anything last year.
What do we have in there for?
125, I'd suggest we take it down to 50. Complaints, arguments?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Repair and maintenance, 200 was spent last year, 200 was budgeted last year, 85 was spent. Previous 2 years, we spent 163 and 276.
How about 100?
100, okay. Postage. We are paying for the newsletter, so I think that should come up. 350 was budgeted last year, spent was almost 600. And we only did one. That one should go up substantially. I would suggest 15.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that enough?
I think so.
It should be, but you know what, we'll increase it if we have to. Do you wanna do 2,000? Is that what you're
What's that,
thinking?
is that newsletter 600 at a time?
Mm-mm. No, the first one was, but I don't know how much it is. This is just the postage for it,
Right, but I thought it was 600 for the postage.
to print it. No, it's not gonna be that much.
Otherwise, I don't care, but I just thought that was something that we,
So do you wanna raise it or leave it?
I'd raise it.
2,000? All right, printing, we spent almost 1,000 last year, we budgeted nothing, and obviously that's the newsletter. So, I would suggest maybe the same amount, 2,000, for starters, and see what happens with that. I think it's a good service for the citizens, and any additional communication we can have with them is a good thing. Publicity and subscriptions. The newspaper went up in price. We don't buy that, the Clerk and Recorder does. That would be just our membership at NACO and NACO, I think. BCDC. So,
Do we
It was-
belong to Chamber?
no, but we should.
Yes, we should.
We should, yeah. We spent 8720 last year, 8,500 was budgeted. I'd suggest we go to at least 9,000,
Or 10.
10, or 9,500,
Either one.
Franklin?
either one's fine with me.
Okay, 95.50, we cut the difference. Utilities, spent last year was 2385, budgeted was 5,000. Propane's going down, electric's going up.
Maybe we just barely leave it. Oh, wait a minute, we used half, did we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'd take it to 5.
leave it at 5? Okay. And if we need to cut any of these, we can always come back through. We may need to. I think the general fund's gonna be kinda scary this year because of the wages that we had to do to fix the wage issue. Professional services, last year spent was 5,000, 228, budgeted was 9. Previous 2 years is 16 and 10. I would hope we can start keeping that down a bit. I would hope we could start keeping that down a lot. I think that was some of Michelle,
Can we go
Personal
10?
Plus. Or keep it at 9, or even decrease it.
I like 9.
9, okay. Repair, maintenance services, we used 2407 last year, 1,800 was budgeted. That would be computers, IT, all that good stuff.
The car?
Probably should,
And the car, thank you, the tires, that's what that is.
probably should raise that then.
Why?
Well, didn't you?
We won't be buying
I thought we said we used more than what we,
Mm-mm.
on tires. We won't be buying those annually.
no, okay.
Keep it the same or 2,000?
Okay, and what was it then last year?
We spent 2407, that's the tires, and we budgeted 1,800.
Well, so I'd keep it at least 2, I'd say.
Okay, travel. We spent 1,521, we budgeted 1,500. Previously, we spent 1,200 and 1,200. This is your gas when you ask to be reimbursed,
Mm-hmm.
and your additional travel. What do you project you want for next year?
What's gonna be the same or more? I'd say probably should budget a little bit more.
How much more?
Couple hundred maybe?
I guess, you know what, I might be the minority on this one, but I'm uncomfortable with how much, that's increased, with your extra miles.
At 200.
Going to county meetings on the county dime, it just doesn't sit right with me. If we have to raise our budget to accommodate that, it just even more so seems an affront to the citizens to me.
I don't go down for every meeting.
I
Most,
don't put down for any meetings.
I don't either, never have.
I just feel like it's part of my duty.
Exactly, and that's what we're paid for.
We got these trips.
I'd say let's cap it at 15, period.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
In fact, I haven't been paid for all mine this year yet.
Well, our budget is
And I
over,
got
so.
I got some more to turn in, so I think you better put some more on
You know what, I'm gonna let you go to the citizens. If they wanna write some letters that you should be paid more and more and more, then I will vote with Elaine to increase that, if she's so
it.
inclined.
What do you think, Elaine? I think it
Well,
should be entitled
I mean, the rest of us are paying for it out of our own pocket, frankly, is the bottom line. I don't put in for travel at all, even when I go to meetings out of town. I just feel like it's part of my duty. And, are the people getting a bargain? Yeah, they are, you know, because you could put in for it. But I just feel like, no, that I don't need to because I get paid a good wage, and leave it at that.
Alright,
I'd leave it at the 1,500 for next year.
me too. Alright, training services. I don't foresee much in the way of training. We have a $500 budget. We used 100. This was $570 the year before when we had a new commissioner going through the MACO new commissioner
Mhm.
training. Excuse me, but we won't have that again. So I would think we could lower that to 300.
Mm-hmm.
And contract services, 4,500 was budgeted, 11,268.
That's Anderson Jamillan.
Yeah, it could be a number of things, but yeah, I think it is Anderson Zermillion.
Or we're seeing what is budget and what is spending.
Budgeted was 4,500, spent was 11,268. I would suggest 5,000 and hope that this will be a more positive year.
I think that that'd be fine.
Machinery and equipment is at 10. We've never spent anything for the duration of this report.
Then leave it what it was.
Okay, just carry it over.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's see where we're at. That may be needed to cover salaries with those increases this year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so spent last year was 86, 468, budgeted was 191, 946, and the total for this year is 103, 600.
Before wages.
Before wages, yeah. That'll come up quite a bit. Wages will probably be around 100 and, work comp and everything, about 160,000. So we're gonna be at 163,000 roughly. No, 263.
Mm-hmm.
263,
And that's up 70,000.
that's, yeah. That's a big jump.
Can we take that 10,000 down to 5?
Yeah, we can.
It's not gonna bring us down a lot, but,
Mm-mm. Is that 258?
mhm. And we're still 67,000.
Yeah. Once this starts getting spent, it's going to be reimbursed fairly quickly,
That's Deep Creek.
right? So really, this doesn't count because we're just a pass-through for it. So we can take off that just for conversation's sake. So we're actually at 208,000.
We don't know when that decrease will be paid back, though.
Once the work starts.
Right, yeah. The money's in there already from last year, Franklin. So it isn't an additional amount that's going in. So that's why you would
It's
take it
holding.
off.
Holds even.
Exactly. The other thing is it's not there as an expenditure as much as it is a pass-through. The money will be paid back as it's used. There's a delay of 3 to 5 weeks
Yeah.
based on the grant.
But see, that's all on a hold now, cause that wasn't there was something there that isn't being done.
I would,
I thought it was still a go.
yeah, I think you need to talk to the conservation district. They just had a big, thing at the fairgrounds. They ended up with a good, 500 people, just a tremendous showing. And it was a Deep Creek update. This is where we're going. If that was dead in the water, they wouldn't have had that event.
I thought it was Conkey that said that it wasn't, and that, they couldn't do anything. If they did anything, it would be reimbursed. Anyway,
We can ask Mike when he's here Monday.
Or if you wanna call him and ask him. Well, why don't we start there and, see what happens with our totals. We can always revisit if we have to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll
How
do
much
that
is
then.
work comp and all those going up this year?
Work comp's going down because of our safety meetings.
Mm,
It's going down 3%.
Good.
Yeah, it's quite significant. So that's where we can prove that having the safety committees and required attendance is a positive thing for the taxpayers. Everything else, I don't know if it's going up or down.
That's good news on work comp.
Yeah, it's awesome. All right, so I will turn these into Debbie when she is back tomorrow. Franklin, you need to figure out Three Forks mosquito. And it's just this portion right here. If you wanna fill that out, I'll take it to Debbie. All right.
About got it snuffed out, huh?
I think so. Yeah,
Now we could just find a pot of gold.
exactly. Yeah.
well, this year, I'd say probably just leave it like it is.
Well, I'm gonna let you put it in there and I'm gonna let you initial it so that Everybody's on the same page.
I wonder is Larry Phillips still on that board down there?
No,
He's
that's why
not?
Franklin is
No.
dropped out. I think he'd been on it so many years probably that kind of thought maybe somebody else should take it over.
He'd been there a long time,
Yeah,
since
Yeah.
back in the 90s or
Yeah.
earlier.
he knew what he was doing.
Oh, yeah. Pardon me.
Okay, for 1450, why does it just have the straight 19 down through there? Contracts,
Oh, I don't have it in front of me because I gave you mine, because you didn't bring yours.
See, for 1415, what do they mean by that? You understand that, Elaine? I don't.
Don't they pay somebody to do that?
This is actual spent, this column, this was what was budgeted. So, that probably is not what you wanna keep it at, that's from previous years, what I would suggest is you look at these previous years
Right.
and carry these over to them.
Right, that's what I was wondering why, I guess you didn't.
You can get reports from the accounting office on those 19, but we can't tell from here. This is just a compilation of all the expenses for the fund, not the expenses within the funds, or the object codes. So you need to get a report if you're curious about that, but we don't have the means to answer that for you at this time.
But contracted services was only 3,000 basically?
It's a very, very small district. It's actually a big district, but the part in Broadwater County is very small, so this is just our portion,
I'd leave it like it was last year then.
or this year.
Yeah,
Well, I think I'd leave it at the high figure, because we don't know,
right.
so this would be this 1960 that would carry.
Okay, again, I want you to put it in there, and I want you to initial it for my protection.
Okay, that goes in this one here then?
Mm-hmm.
B19. Oops, well, it's both, it all stays the same then. How come there's not another line for this? Well, that's just, that right then? Carry what you're taking the highest amount and taking it right over here.
Mm-hmm. Now initial it here.
Thank you.
So is Larry's health not doing good?
I don't know. He just sent a letter when we had the renewals, and he said, I'm not gonna renew. So, and it was as short and sweet as that. He talked to Nicole, and was very nice, very, I just think maybe he just had enough. It's been so many
Well,
years.
I think that they've got some health problems.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. But, if we're adjourned,
Well, I guess, okay, I got a call from Michelle, and I got to in fact, Tammy should have it done for me now, revise that agenda. She says, we cannot have anything to do with that closed door meeting. And she says, we have nothing to do with any of that, that Nick has to report to the sheriff. And so she told me what to do, and I called him and told him that,
You called Nick?
yes. Mhm.
Franklin, we had a meeting just 2 days ago in which you were spoken to about violating employees' rights to privacy. You have not adjourned this meeting. You have not asked for a closed door at this meeting. You are violating that employee's rights to privacy, and I'm going to officially ask you to refrain from that immediately.
I'm doing what Michelle told me to do.
Not how she told you to do it, no. If you would like to discuss an employee, then we need to have a closed door, and you need to call that. You don't do it in an open meeting.
And the
Just
camera
because
has to come
nobody's
off.
here, exactly. Just because nobody's here does not mean that this is now a closed meeting. You need to follow the steps set forth in Montana law regarding open meeting laws and the Constitution involving employees' rights to privacy,
I would
period.
just inform you guys, cause this is what she told me to do.
Okay,
And the revised agenda is going up there now, and he is just to be in contact with.
enough said.
Are you going to, call this meeting closed or ended? Or are we gonna continue?
Yeah, we'll adjourn this at, well, about 12:27, I guess.
I felt bad, I didn't realize Ann was off today.